Hey, you guys. Hello, hello. Welcome to my Wisdom Wednesday, where I help you learn how to create amazing relationships in your life. So, my name is Chris Bongiovanni-Stiff. I am a certified life coach. I have been coaching people for 30 plus years. I know, amazing. It all started out back when I started teaching people how to take control of their confidence through shaping their bodies, through health and wellness, teaching them how to eat right. And it's morphed into so much deeper where I am now able to help them mentally with their mindset and really start digging into the reasons why they want to change themselves to create confidence. So, today I want to talk to you about really looking at who you are, who I am, who we are, and what our relationship with ourself looks like. So, this morning, during my quiet time, as most of you know, every morning I take time to meditate, to pray, to open up my mind, to hear whatever it is I need to hear. And during that quiet time today, I was studying the story of David and Goliath. That story is always a story that just I love it. So I'll mention it again at the end, but if you're at all interested in going back and looking at this story, is in First Samuel chapter 17. I'm going to kind of go through the story a little bit because it pertains to it really. So during this time, this story about David and Goliath just hit me in a whole different way, in a way that relates to you and I, those of us who have built up an outer facade of who we are to the world. So, out in the world, we are somebody different than who we are at home. And so, as this story about David and Goliath, as it unfolds, it starts out with how so many of us go out into the world. So in First Samuel 17, verse 38, Saul, who was the king at the time and has been just kind of watching the Philistines and watching this giant taunt them. And so Saul and his armies have been trying to figure out how they're going to defeat this giant. And David says that he can. David is a young man at this time. And so as David is preparing to face the giant, Saul gives David his own armor. In the verse, it says a bronze helmet and a coat of mail. Not positive I'm pronouncing mail right, but it's that wire mesh that they wore when they went out to fight. And he gave his armor, Saul gave David his armor to go fight the giant. And for many of us, that is what we do. We dress up in somebody else's personality, somebody else's persona, the person that we think will fit the people we're going to be surrounded by. And so for a lot of us, we might just change depending upon the group. It's not always the same costume that we wear. And sometimes this works, but the more we do this, the longer we do this and the more successful we get, the further apart we grow from the person that we were originally designed to be. I see this with so many of my clients who don't even know anymore who they are outside of this persona, this facade that they have created over their whole life. They don't even know. They're on a journey to really self-discovery, trying to figure out who it is that they really are. So then the story goes on in verse 39 to talk about how David put Saul's gear on and then strapped a sword over it and took a step or two to see what it was like. And so, for those of us who aren't fully secure in who we are, we're looking for affirmation from outside of us. So, when we put on what we think will get us attention or validation, we learn that that works. If it truly, like if we do get acceptance, we do feel accepted, we feel validation, we feel like we fit in. So, like I said earlier, David was just a boy at this time, from what I can gather. And, my education on the Bible is very limited. But from what I can gather, according to Google, it seems as though he was somewhere between 15 and 20 years old. But he already knows that this facade doesn't feel right. So he takes it off. He's going to fight a giant, and he's got this gear, and he already knows it doesn't feel right. He takes it off, and in verse 40, he picks up 5 stones, puts them into his shepherd's bag, and then, armed with what he knew, he was a shepherd, he arms himself with those stones in the shepherd's bag, his shepherd's staff, and his sling, and he goes to fight Goliath. Now, most of us would be like, no way. That feels way too vulnerable to like step out in the world without that outer armor, without that facade. We feel vulnerable. Like, what will people think? What if I fail? What if I'm humiliated? What if I don't fit in? It would cause us to doubt ourselves and then not to fully trust our own capabilities. We're not trusting who it is that we were divinely created to be. Like, we're not trusting that. And so then when David finally meets Goliath, again, Goliath is a giant, a man. And from my research, again, my Google research, actually, my Bible, I think I was reading the Message version of the Bible. It said that he was 9 feet tall, that Goliath was 9 feet tall. According to Google, he's anywhere from 7 and beyond. And he wore a bronze coat of mail that weighed 125 pounds. He had a bronze helmet on, and he walked around with 125 pounds of bronze mail on him. So the dude is big, right? And Jonathan is going out there in his shepherd's gear. Goliath, when he sees David coming to him, Goliath taunts and curses him, asking David in verse 43, "Am I a dog?" He roars at David, "that you would come at me with a stick?" What I fully love about this story is that David is so secure in himself because he has full faith in his creator, in the Lord. As the giant runs out to attack David, David quickly runs out to meet him. Like, most of us would be like, what? Why didn't I leave that armor on? And that's how I want you guys to be. Be secure in who you are. Maybe you need to take tiny baby steps and slowly take off that armor that you've had on for so long. David has full confidence as he pulls out a stone, hurls it with his sling, and with a bullseye, the stone sinks in, causing the giant to
And
fall
when we
face
need
down
lots
on the
of
ground.
instruction to use other
The
people's
serious
tools.
thing is that when we go out wearing someone else's
So the
armor,
serious thing
we
is
are
that when we go
never
out wearing
as
somebody
powerful
else's
as we are when we
armor,
step
we are
out
never as
in
powerful
who we were
as
created to
we
be.
are when
We were
step
created
out
with
in who
the
we are.
exact
We were
tools
created
we
with
need to
all of the
produce
right
huge
tools that we
success
need
in
to
our
produce
lives.
huge success in our lives.
And
When we use what
so,
we've been given,
yeah, then, you know, the
that's
story
when
you
we
can go
create
back and
magic
read
in
it,
our
but
lives,
then
because we are
David
guided
goes
with the
and
use of our
takes the
own
giant
tools.
Goliath sword and cuts off his head with his own sword, with the giant sword. It's kind of a cool story, right? Very empowering, very insightful that we have exactly what we need. When we use what we've been given, that's when we create magic in our lives, because we are guided when we use our tools. We need a whole lot of instruction if we're out there using other people's tools or made up tools, so that we just can set them down and pick up the ones that we already have. Like, we don't even need to research them. We can just start using them. And inherently, we will start to know how to use them. So, you guys, I am so excited to share that I have further narrowed down the people that I'm serving. And what that means is, it may not seem super exciting to you, but what it means is that I can better communicate so that you know if your problem is something I can help you with. I can coach on all sorts of things, but what I'm working on is helping people with their relationships. Those relationships right now could be relationships with food, relationships with money, parents, mom, dad, brother, sister, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, children. What relationship is it that you're struggling with? I would love to get together with you. All it takes is a phone call and you just telling me what is hurting for you in your relationship. What problem relationship do you need help with? Because what happens is we have this nagging problem with this person, and we are built to generate love. And so when we're not generating love, all we feel is awful. Really, true, just awful. And that's not any fun. All right. So all of my contact information is below. Get a hold of me and let's figure out how you can make this relationship awesome. I guarantee it. Have an amazing day. Ciao.